My name is Watson.
And my name is Mariah.
We're 12 years old.
And we're representing Old Redford Academy Middle School.
And we're here to talk about drugs.
Drugs are very dangerous and unhealthy.
And they can also ruin a relationship with your loved ones. Go talk to a family member, a friend, even a teacher, or you can go to a therapist, or if you need any extra help, you can go online and find all of those.
Hashtag not worth it.
And good afternoon and welcome to Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and I am very, very pleased to have two special guests with me in the studio today to talk about foster care. And before we get started, just wanted to make a few announcements real quick. One, our show is live. Our calling numbers are area code 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, and 313-868-4336. And again, you are watching us live from the awesome cities of Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan, as well as the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Hubert Yap. And if you'd like to call in, we would welcome your input in the program today. Now, just one thing I just want to say, personal announcement. Just wanted to lift up in prayer the family of a good friend of mine. Her name is Denise Harris, and I want to lift her up in prayer and want to lift up her sister's husband in prayer as well for some health challenges that he is going through at the current time. And then also through another friend of mine, Lisa Hicks Clayton, I just want to also mention too that there is a project called the Pull-Up Project that's going to be this coming Thursday, October the 13th. And that's going to be at Palmer Park, which is located at 910 Mero Plaisance Street in Detroit, from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. And come and join them for food, fun, and wellness. And they're going to be providing HIV and STI screening. They're also going to be providing health and wellness checks, COVID and monkeypox vaccines, and more. And this is through the MDHHS. So again, make certain that you come and get a chance to get your wellness checked, because wellness, as we know, that's one of the things we're going to talk about a little bit today when you're talking about the wellness of young people and the program that my guests are going to discuss. And today I am joined by two special guests. I was doing some voter registration at Triumph Church this past Sunday, and I looked across the way and I saw these two young ladies, and they were doing some engaging with a lot of the people that came out of the church. And I said, let me go over and find out what they do. So when I was talking to one of my guests, she was explaining to me about the foster care program. And her name is Miss Leah Thomas, and Miss Leah Thomas is the coordinator for TFCO, and that stands for Treatment Foster Care Oregon. And she also brought with her Miss Denise Harmon, and Miss Denise Harmon is the program parent recruiter, correct? Okay. Make sure I get that right.
You got it.
Okay. All right, let's get started. Ms. Thomas, first, talk about what is TFCO?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to come on the show and talk about the program. TFCO, as you said, it stands for Treatment Foster Care of Oregon, and it is a model that has been around for over 30 years, maybe over 40 years now. It's an evidence-based model that that really works with youth who have behavioral challenges, and it allows them to live in a therapeutic home for 6 to 9 months. And during that time, they are working on building their skills, really addressing those challenging behaviors. The therapeutic parent is a part of that treatment team, and their family that they are coming from is working with a therapist, helping the family learn how to manage the child's behavior, and also to build skills, parenting skills, so that when the child returns home, they have more skills under their belt and can really manage those behaviors.
Okay. And so now, what do you do with the program?
So my role is the TFCO coordinator. So I'm really the coordinator of the program, the lead clinician. My role under the model is the team lead, and I work with the therapeutic parents. I'm also the person who works with the families and guiding some support. They work with their family therapist, but I'm kind of the voice of what's going on both sides.
Okay. And Ms. Harmon, now you say you are the parent recruiter, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Describe what is a parent recruiter?
Okay, so the parent recruiter, I go do lots of marketing in terms of getting out in the communities. I've been to hospitals, schools, different churches. We do job fairs anytime that in the community, especially when it's setting up tables in the community for vendors. Just always present with our tables, recruiting with the purpose of recruiting and interesting those and talking about the program. So I recruit those parents. Have a couple of roles. That's a kind of a dual part. After recruiting the parents and they show interest, then I support them into the licensing process so that they are compliant with the state licensing requirements and make sure that their home is safe and available for the children. And so they have to do background screenings. It could be something supporting them as simple as, do they have working smoke alarms in the home, and the child have to have their own room. And so there's a lot of specific requirements in terms of that. Safety, of obviously, with windows. And so it's real specific, and kind of a long process, but it's to make sure that the parents, the children are safe when they go in, and the parents are compliant and, getting all the things that's required to be done. And so, it's rewarding to see the excitement of the parents as they, continue to get things done and stuff like that.
And see, it's great because you took my next question from me, because I was going to ask you what were some of the requirements that a parent, or parents, needed to have to become foster, care providers. Now, let me ask you one other question, Denise. So then when you do get the parent, then if the parent decides, how often do you check to see or monitor to see their progress with the child in the home?
Good question. It's a weekly process in
Weekly?
terms of the licensing and walking them through the process. I have weekly appointments with them because they have a lot of things that they have to get done, as far as sending off for making sure that they have a birth certificate. A lot of people still have their birth certificates available, So there's requirements with terms of their bills and ability, to take care of themselves, because one of the things is we require for the families or potential families to already have their own source of income, so that this is not their main source. They're not doing this for the money in order for it to be successful with the child. because if it's a waiting process and that child is successful in the home between the 6 and 9 months and they're returned back home to their parent, then they're licensed for another child to come in. If given the fact that they have not, it's a waiting period for the next child to come in, they're not dependent on, we haven't put them in a financial hardship, where they're waiting. They have to really be able to want to do this, specifically for that child. And so they're able to, we don't want anything in their home to change in terms of financial or restrictions with the child being in the home. They have to have their own room and things like that. And so there's a reason, for all of those specifics in terms of that. And so that's why we require for them to have their own income. And because of the waiting list, it's such a lot, in terms of the specifics and everything with the state. But we just ask for patience, and that they know and they're aware that it is a long process,
And once so this is all during that licensing process. Denise is keeping great contact with the families, making sure they feel supported, making sure that they fully understand what's expected of them to become licensed. And then during the time when the child is actually placed in their home, we're having daily contact with those parents. So Denise is also being the parent recruiter. She conducts our parent daily reports, which are calls, and she's calling those parents on a daily basis to check in and see how they're doing with the youth and what behaviors that youth might be displaying and if it's stressing the parent out. We're really checking to see where their stress level is and if there's something we need to do to address that. And, I'm sorry. One of the other things I should have mentioned when I first started talking about the program, we are TFCO, the Michigan model. So in every other country and state that the program is in, they work in alignment with the foster care system. But here in Michigan, for our program and the other couple of programs, we work in alignment with community mental health. So our children, our families are becoming licensed foster homes in the state so that we can place the youth. And we are a child placing agency, but our children are not actually in foster care. Their families are volunteering them to participate. So they are already involved in community mental health services, and their families are looking at this as really an alternative to residential care. They don't want their child to be a part of the system, and they want to try and address the behaviors before that becomes the outcome.
Now, what ages do you service as far as, say, the children?
So we work with youth. Our model is the C model, and so we work with youth that are 7 to 11. There are models. There's a model for adolescents, for older children, and there's also a model for younger children. But our agency is currently only working with 7 to 11.
So what do you find are some of the main challenges that children between those ages of 7 and 11 may display compared to other age groups?
So really, with the 7 to 11 age group, I mean, we're working with youth who've potentially had different traumas in their lives, and really from the perspective of the model, they look at it as a skill deficit. So they've had different challenges, different things that have happened. Maybe they have had disruptions with their parents or in their homes, experienced some type of physical abuse or sexual abuse or other types of traumas that have created these behaviors. And they don't have the skills to manage it. So they act out in ways which are the challenging behaviors that we kind of look for and are addressing. So some of the behaviors can be things, such as arguing, being competitive. It could be bedwetting. It could be yelling, screaming. They could be physically aggressive. So there is definitely a level. All of the children are not going to be displaying the same behaviors, and all the challenges won't be the same. That's why we really want a diverse group of parents who kind of know the things that they think they can probably work with, and we can coach them through the rest.
Now, if you have let's say you've got a brother and a sister, or 2 sisters or 2 brothers, do you try and keep them in the same system or the same household, or how do you do that?
That is a really great question. So for our program, because it's voluntary and because our children are already receiving mental health services, right, we already know that they have significant challenges in terms of their behavior. we're only placing one child in the home at a time. So a therapeutic parent will only ever receive one placement. And if it is a family where they have children, where multiple children in the home have some challenging behaviors, we would only be working with one child at a time in the program. So we probably would not have siblings that, say if there was a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old and they both had challenging behaviors, we wouldn't place them at the same time, because we're working specifically with the parent to address that plan, and the parents really have to be involved. We have to have a family where the parents are going to be involved. They're going to be meeting with their therapist. They're going to be working on the skills. When they have visits with their children, we're coaching them through those visits so that, if their child, however they would typically respond to something, maybe by throwing something across the room, what's a different way to respond to get a different outcome? And really, the program is really big on positive reinforcement and focusing on the things and really highlighting the things that you want to see. So going above and beyond with your praise when your child is coming in and they're visiting with you and they're doing the things that you would want them to do. Mm-hmm. Any little thing. We put a lot of emphasis on that because a part of the model is they notice, you get more of what you're paying attention to. And so you want to pay attention to the things that you want to see, really highlighting those good behaviors, because that's what that child is going to start displaying more.
I see you may want to make a comment to that.
Well, we emphasize a lot, just piggybacking on what Leah shared. That's one of the great things that I like about this whole team is before the child even comes into the home, we are meeting with those parents weekly, and we're going over the things that Leah just shared about, giving them examples and scenarios and kind of what to expect and different things to expect in the trainings before the child even comes in the home, so that they are pretty aware. So it's one thing to recruit a parent who has some kind of experience, with children, is what we're, really focused on. But then to just the ongoing, before the child is even placed in the home, we're meeting with them just weekly basis, in the parenting training and just what to expect. And I think they really like that, because that's, a lot of people, obviously, when you hear about the behaviors, are going to be nervous. And knowing that they're having a child, they want to do it, but they're going to be nervous. And so those trainings are really great that Leah's absolutely awesome in those trainings on a weekly basis. So I just wanted to piggyback off that. Yeah.
Okay, and then I got you, Denise, what are there age requirements for the parents? I mean, as young as or as old as, are there any
The age
requirements?
for the parents?
For the parents?
No.
So it doesn't matter in terms of so if a person was how young would you take a parent to be?
Well, I would say we are not looking at age. Mm-hmm. We are looking at skills,
okay,
right? Mm-hmm. Experience. So you could have someone, perhaps they're fairly young, but they have...
When you say fairly young...
In their early 20s.
Okay.
So if we had somebody who's coming in their early 20s and they don't have their own biological child, but they've worked with children with different behavioral challenges for a long time, or perhaps they raised a sibling who had these challenges and they have history in terms of a level of comfortability in responding to things. They have a sense of humor. They are showing us that they're following up with Denise on a regular basis. They are staying involved. They are completing everything as requested in terms of the licensing process, and showing us that they're responsible and can really be a part of the team. We're going to look more at that versus just looking at someone's age. Do you enjoy children? And then when we're talking together, just at those trainings that Denise mentioned, can we tell? Can we tell that you like kids, you're funny, and we're telling stories about things, and your response and your reaction is something like, okay, your child comes out and spills milk on the floor. Mm-hmm. Are we having a big deal, or do we kind of know oh, okay, it's all right, we're going to clean it up? Just kind of noticing that type of stuff is what really helps us kind of gauge if a person is really going to be invested in the child.
Right.
Similar to what Denise said before, we are really looking for people who are passionate about working with children. Mm-hmm. You're doing this because you care. The compensation is great, that is true, but you're doing this because you care.
Now, when you mentioned the term, say, about the parents, does it matter whether or not the parents are married or if it's a single parent? So
Good question.
you could have a single parent or you could have a married couple that could become foster parents.
Exactly. You could. We have couples, or you can have be a single parent, or you can have a partner. It doesn't matter if you qualify and you have that go. If there's a couple, both will go through the licensing background screening, obviously, and so. But it doesn't, matter that they don't qualify. If they meet those qualifications, we have a lot of single people, and then also married couples as well.
So let me ask this. So when we talk about the age group, because you may have people that may be like in their 50s or their 60s. So as long as they meet those guidelines, they could still become foster, parents.
Absolutely.
And then how long do they keep them in their household for? What's the period of time?
6 to 9 months, and so it's a range because it's really based on that child's
Right.
treatment plan.
Okay.
And the treatment plan, it's not just something that we kind of write up and it's there. It's something that changes. It's evolving every day. We're looking at what are the behaviors we're seeing now and how are we addressing them, and we're doing that on a weekly basis as a clinical team. And so one child might show that they've really knocked down a lot of these behaviors, and their visits with their parents are going great, and everything that they're still displaying, their parents are able to kind of address it or let it roll off, and you're really seeing that how they've gone through the phases of the model, and it's ready for that child to come on back home, and they can do this with the follow-up support that we also provide. And then other youth, it might take them a little bit longer. Maybe we're getting to that 9-month period and we're saying, okay, we're really working on this transition out. So it just depends, but we wouldn't go past 9 months. And we do offer, we refer to the family that the child is coming from as an aftercare family because it might not be their biological family, whatever their family makeup is. But we provide that aftercare family with support with our family therapist after the child is returned. So they do continue to get some follow-up there. And we also have a wraparound facilitator who works with the family to help that transition and ensure that the family has all the support that they need once their child is officially back home.
Now, in the few minutes that we have left, give your contact information, and so if somebody wanted to get more information, about your program, or they would be interested in going through Denise and seeing if they meet the qualifications of being a parent to have a foster child, in their program, in their home. What are your qualifications, and what are your website or your contact information?
Well, first, I don't know if we said that we're with the Guidance Center. I'm
Okay.
thinking about that now. We probably should have started with that.
Okay, but
So-
we didn't leave it out.
We didn't leave
You
it
have
out, so
in
that's
there.
a good
Right.
thing. So, our website is www.guidance-center.org,
Okay.
and that's guidance-center.org. And they could also reach out to us. Our telephone number is 313-388-4630. My cell phone number is 734-623-3297. I can also be contacted directly for anyone who is interested in any information about the program, as well as they can also contact Denise directly.
And I'll give you my cell number, 734-626-4163.
Okay. Was there, now I know we missed the part about the Guidance Center earlier.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, Denise, is there anything else, Leah, that we didn't cover in the short period of time that we've been on the show with me today? Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
The time really did roll by.
Always does when you're having fun.
Yeah. So one thing I will also say, so we are with the Guidance Center, a community mental health agency, and we do work with youth in Wayne County. So that's important. Our therapeutic parents do not have to live in Wayne County. They can live in Wayne, Oakland, Macomb. They can live in the surrounding areas as long as they're able to get to our agency in a reasonable amount of time, something that they feel like is doable, because we will have our meetings and our trainings and everything. But the youth that we service are in Wayne County.
Okay. Denise, is there anything else that you might want to add?
Well, I just want to say that all of this support is done by a full team. We have Leah, a wonderful coordinator, and we also have a therapist for the child, a therapist for the parent or the aftercare family member, and then we have a skills coach. and then myself, and we all play a role in the success, to the end of this entire, parent. And that's one of the things that we hear a lot from therapeutic parents that they like most is the support. Most places, business close at 5. They are hired on as a part of our team as a therapeutic parent, and therefore we are available to them. And it's designed that way that we're available to them 24/7. If that child is struggling at 10 o'clock at night, they're able to reach out to Leah, and and everything is done in the treatment plan, as she said earlier. So that's one of the things that parents really are attracted to, is having that support and not feeling, left alone at any given time. Just being able to be successful, because that's the end goal, that the whole thing is successful. The child, the parents, the team, and, and everything. So that's huge.
That was a good one. I'm so glad you said that about the 24/7 support, because, and not just in addition to them being able to call us, there will always be a 24/7 support person on call, but we can call our consultants at TFCO Oregon 24/7. So if there's a situation that they haven't heard of, which I don't know if there's going to be one out there because they've been doing it for so long, but we always have that backup. And so our parents will always feel that backup. That is a primary part of the model. So I'm really glad you highlighted that.
Now, let me ask you, we've got 2 minutes left.
Okay.
What is it, Leah, that you like most in your role and responsibility with TFCO?
That's such a big question. What do I like most? There's so much that I like about it. In my role, being able to work with such an awesome team, I enjoy everyone on the team, and everybody is very passionate about working with the children, very creative and thinking about just how to approach getting parents and bringing this. This program was new to the Guidance Center, and everything is brand new. And so starting a program brand new, you really need a lot of support and a lot of great people to really push it through. So I've really enjoyed that. And then just the model itself. It's evidence-based. It's been proven to work. And it's been proven to help the children build the skills that they need and help their families get the skills that they need so that they can make some changes. I've worked in the psychiatric hospital for adolescents, and I've seen the differences when you have youth who become institutionalized, when they do kind of start a cycle of hospitalizations. And so to be able to be on the front end of that and to try and stop that before it happens is huge.
Now, Denise, I was going to ask you the same question, but I think Leah may have taken up a little bit more than
I'm
2 minutes
sorry.
that we've got. But just real quick, just in 15 seconds, what is it that you really like most about working?
I enjoy going into the homes and helping persons to be able to do something that they never thought that they can do, and just getting to know the families and being a part of choosing the perfect parent, for these children to be involved. I actually enjoy it.
Great. I can tell from that smile.
That's all. I'm
you
trying
really
to say it
do.
really quick. Did I do my 20 seconds right?
No, you did fine. You did fine. Okay, Denise, just real quick, in 10 seconds, give your contact information again one more time.
Sure.
Oh, me?
I'm sorry, Leah, go ahead.
Okay, so Leah Thomas, my cell phone, 734-623-3297. Our main line, 313-388-4630. And our website, www.guidance-center.org.
Great. Okay. Well, I do want to thank both my guests, Leah, Denise, for coming on the show. We've got to have you back on again
Yes.
in the near future.
All right.
But you've been watching Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. And if you'd like to contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart at area code 313-457-5944 to advertise in the Detroit Native Sun News or to pick up a copy of the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Have a great rest of this afternoon. Peace.